For over 3 decades, The Simpsons has been way more than just a cartoon. It's a cultural landmark, a masterpiece of satire, and, as you've probably heard, a crystal ball. The show has this uncanny habit of depicting events years, sometimes even decades, before they actually happen. But here's the thing, not all of its prophecies are created equal. Some are just funny coincidences, while others are so specific and detailed, they're genuinely unsettling. Today we're going on a journey through the 7 levels of Simpsons prophecies, starting with the obvious gags and ending with predictions so accurate they'll make you question if time travel is real. Let's go. Number 7. The mild coincidence. A perfect example of the mild coincidence is the infamous autocorrect gag. In the 1994 episode Lisa on Ice, Principal Skinner is talking at an assembly. A bully overhears Martin Prince saying how he likes what Skinner is saying and tries to write a reminder to beat up Martin on his handheld Apple Newton device. But the device's terrible handwriting recognition changes it to eat up Martha. This joke was a direct shot at the real-life Apple Newton, which, released a year earlier, was notorious for its clunky software at the time. Years later, when smartphones made autocorrect fails a part of our daily lives, fans pointed to this as a prediction, because let's face it, almost none of us ever mean duck when texting. Number 6. Observant trend spotting. Here we find predictions that feel less like psychic visions and more like the work of incredibly smart, observant writers. Take the idea of toys spying on kids. In a 1999 episode, The Gift of Maggie, a corporation takes over Springfield Elementary School to help with a funding issue. The educators turn classes into market research without the kids knowing, recording everything they're saying and reporting back to head office to make the latest and greatest toy for Christmas, Funzo. This episode really played on the growing anxieties of the late 90s about privacy, the internet, and Big Brother watching everything. It wasn't a huge leap to imagine that as toys got smarter, they could become tools for collecting data. Fast forward to 2015, and the joke became reality. Toys like Hello Barbie from Mattel and VTech's connected gadgets were caught recording kids' and parents' conversations and storing them on company servers. VTech even had photos children had taken on their Wi-Fi connected cameras, not to mention passwords, names, schools the kids went to, and other sensitive and identifying information, all unencrypted. This obviously sparked huge privacy scandals. Number 5. The specific cultural event. At number 5, the predictions get much more specific. This is where things start to get a little spooky. The prime example here is the Siegfried and Roy tiger attack. In a 1993 episode, Springfield has hit economic hardship, so it decided to build a casino to boost the economy. Here we are introduced to Gunter and Ernst, entertainers at the casino. Gunter and Ernst are a parody of the world-famous Las Vegas magicians who performed with a white tiger. We only see them briefly, but in the episode, their tiger viciously mauls them on stage. It was a dark passing gag, but then, a full decade later, in 2003, life tragically imitated art. During a live show, Roy Horn was attacked by his white tiger, Manticore, dragging him off stage by the neck. Roy suffered serious injuries, leaving him partially paralyzed. The parallels were just chilling. The German performers, the white tiger, the onstage attack. While the real act was always dangerous, the specific way The Simpsons depicted it, 10 years before it happened, was uncanny. Number 4. The niche industry scandal. At number 4, we move from cultural moments to very specific systemic failures that took years to come to light. These predictions are so niche that educated guess just doesn't feel like a good enough explanation anymore. Let's talk about the horse meat scandal. In the 1994 episode Sweet Seymour Skinner's Badass Song, Lunch Lady Doris is shown making school lunches by scooping assorted horse parts out of a barrel. The barrel even has "now with more testicles" written on it, with Doris talking to herself saying, "More testicles means more iron." It's a quick, dark joke about how bad cafeteria food can be. But 19 years later, in 2013, this exact scenario blew into a massive European scandal. It started when Irish food inspectors tested frozen beef patties and found equine DNA. From there, investigations spread, finding up to 100% horse meat in certain quote-unquote beef products, as well as other undeclared meats. Products being sold in major supermarkets and even served in school lunches were contaminated. The Simpsons didn't just joke about bad food, it pinpointed a very specific type of food fraud in the context of schools almost 2 decades before it became a real crisis. Number 3. The weird tech and safety failure. Now we're at number 3, where the predictions become so bizarrely specific they seem to come out of nowhere, with one of the most chillingly accurate prophecies in recent memory, the submersible tourism disaster. In a 2006 episode called Homer's Paternity Coot, Homer joins who he thinks is his long-lost father on an expedition in personal subs to explore a shipwreck at the bottom of the ocean. During the dive, Homer's sub gets stuck as he navigates through a rock formation chasing a fish. His oxygen runs low and he passes out. Fast forward to 2023 when the world was glued to the news about the Titan submersible, an OceanGate vessel that went missing during a tourist trip down to the shipwreck of the Titanic. The parallels were staggering. A tourist sub, a deep-sea shipwreck, and a catastrophic failure. But it gets even weirder. In a haunting twist, one of the show's writers, Mike Rice, had actually taken a trip on that very same sub to see the Titanic. He even said the sub often lost communication with the surface. This one felt less like a smart guess and more like a scene-for-scene premonition of a unique and tragic disaster. Number 2. Mass behavioral panic. Number 2 isn't about predicting a single event, but about predicting global human behavior. This is where The Simpsons managed to capture the collective psychological reaction of the entire planet to a crisis. I'm talking about pandemic paranoia. The show has touched on pandemics a fair few times, but the most famous example is the 1993 episode Marge in Chains. In it, a virus labeled the Osaka flu spreads from Japan to Springfield, leading to mass hysteria, riots, and demands for a cure. While it didn't predict the specifics of COVID-19, it absolutely nailed the societal fallout, including 2 particularly specific aspects. The first was when a box of killer bees was broken open in the episode and began attacking people, which is very much reminiscent of the murder hornets at the start of 2020 in Washington state during COVID, a very strange and random coincidence. And the second, when we see Mayor Quimbley reporting from a tropical island on the epidemic, which I think all Australians can relate to, as their Prime Minister holidayed in Hawaii at the beginning of 2020 and made no rush to get home. The episode showed residents panicking, fighting over resources, and distrusting authority, which perfectly mirrored the toilet paper shortages and widespread anxiety of 2020. It wasn't just a prediction of a virus, it was a prediction of our response to it, and that's what was so terrifyingly accurate. We're at number 1. Chuck us a like, share this with your friends, hit that subscribe button, and take a guess in the comments what prediction you think is the number 1. It all helps us more than you know. And now, number 1. The terrifyingly real. This is the prediction so impossibly specific, so politically charged, and so consequential that it defies explanation. At the heart of this level is the prediction of the Trump presidency. In the year 2000, the episode Bart to the Future gave us a glimpse into the year 2030, where Lisa Simpson is president. In a now famous line, President Lisa says, "As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump." At the time, Trump was a celebrity businessman, and the idea of him as president was a punchline. Writer Dan Greeny later said the line was meant as a warning to America, representing the most absurd thing they could imagine happening. 16 years later, that absurd possibility became our reality. Not just that Trump was indeed president, but also that he has run debt through the roof. But it didn't stop there. In a 2008 Treehouse of Horror episode, Homer tries to vote for Barack Obama, but a faulty voting machine keeps changing his vote to John McCain. 4 years later, during the 2012 election, news reports surfaced of a voting machine in Pennsylvania doing the exact same thing, switching votes from Obama to his opponent. The show didn't just name a future president 16 years early, it also captured the technical failures and erosion of faith in the democratic process that would define politics for years to come. That combination is simply staggering, and we're all left asking ourselves how on earth the writers of The Simpsons could be so pinpointedly accurate, it's just straight up creepy. So what's going on here? The writers themselves often point to the law of large numbers. If you make over 700 episodes and throw enough jokes at the wall, some are bound to stick. But as we've seen, some of these guesses feel a lot more specific than others. What do you think? Are the writers just brilliant satirists, or is there something more to it? Let me know which prediction level shocked you the most in the comments below. And as always, like and subscribe so you don't miss any awesome videos coming soon.